Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going to braze copper pipe. So Brian, what are we starting with?
Well, we're going to do a couple different methods. We're going to start out with propane, then we'll go to MAP, and we'll use a turbo torch which uses acetylene with free oxygen, and then we'll use an oxy-acetylene rig which is acetylene with pure oxygen, or close to pure oxygen, which is the hottest of the processes, but the one that I prefer the most because, kind of the purpose of this video is if someone is, doing air conditioner install themselves, we're going to show you some, techniques that you can use to accomplish that. But I will tell you that I prefer the oxyacetylene because when you're brazing in like a service valve or something like that, it allows you to get in, get the braze done, and get out without heating everything in the assemblage up. And all of these processes that use lower temperatures require more heating to the assemblage as a whole versus using oxyacetylene, getting in and heating up a specific area and getting out.
All right, so you have a piece of copper pipe in your hand. What's the prep on that?
This is just emery cloth, and you need
Can we see that?
Clean the garbage off of it.
Okay, so you just took some sandpaper and basically cleaned off the end of the metal there?
Yep, wrap it around and give it a little squeeze and roll it around.
And you can see the difference in color between the part that's been cleaned and what's not. All right.
Today what we're using is I've taken the pipe and swagged it, or swaged it as some people say. Typically if you're doing this,
and that means basically the end of it has just been flanged out,
yeah,
or flared out so
these
that
pipes are the same size,
right?
Same ID and OD, but you can see now it fits inside of that one. You need to have that lap joint.
Okay.
So that we now can go in and fill it with brazing material. Which uses 15% silver brazing rods. They make it as low as 5%, but for me, you're going to save a nickel, and it doesn't flow as well. It's not, to me, it doesn't offset the value. For me, the 15% is where it's at, because it feels good, it flows good, it has the best, in my opinion, the best of all combinations, and it goes as high as 50%, which is what you would use if you were going like copper and connecting copper and steel. It needs that higher nickel or silver content in order to make that joint.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. What I like to do is, when I'm starting out on a pipe, as opposed to sitting there guessing, well, is the pipe sufficiently heated, I always put my torch on one side of the pipe and I lay my brazing rod on the other. Obviously, when the pipe's sufficiently heated, it'll melt in and flow well, and it'll make a good fill all into this joint. And if you notice where the tip of the torch is, it's back here on the lap on the torch, because the brazing rod is going to flow to the heat. So if we heat this end of the pipe up, that's where the heat's going to flow, and we want to fill from here up to here.
So again, from
here back to here. That's the entirety of our joint.
Okay.
All right. And like I said, this is just propane, and it works. It just takes a long time to heat the pipe up. I'm not laying the rod up there yet because I know it takes a long time with the propane to heat the joint up. And sometimes, like, it is a benefit if you can go like this and get a little bit on there. Well, It'll act like a key bridge to help, keep both pieces. And then of course you can sit here and watch that lump, and when it slumps, you know, okay, the pipe's, sufficiently heated for the brazing material to flow. See how it just fell down? It means we're at least locally heating that sufficiently to start getting some brazing material in there. So I've used propane for this. Pain for this stuff. If you come around this side a little bit, Mitch, you can see that the brazing material is starting to flow a little bit. Can you focus right there a little bit? Flow out. Start to flow. That's what you're wanting to see. You're just going to start, moving into that joint. Now you see in the joint where it's been, filled all the way up. In fact, that's what it's called, filling. That's what you want. You want it, basically rising up to the edge and sloping away.
It's crazy how long that takes.
Yeah, with the propane, it's just not a very hot burning gas, and that's why typically what they'll use propane for is if they're doing soldering, with for plumbing work for water, because solder has a much lower melting temperature, and it's struggles to get it up to temp for brazing. But you can see you can do it.
It just takes a little bit of patience.
Yes.
All right. So that was with propane. Now we'll move on to the next gas. Okay, now we've moved on to the MAP gas. And you can see the old weld that we just did. And then there's the new connecting piece that we just put on that we're gonna braze on there. And we just already added it on. Just remember before you go to brazing that clean off both ends so that you can get a nice solid braze there.
Now you should notice with the MAP gas is a bit hotter gas, so this should go a little bit quicker, but it's still not going to be super fast.
So again, you left a little material on top as a gauge.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. See how it's starting to wet out now?
Yeah, I see it melting a little. Okay, yeah.
It's telling me like, oh, okay, they're getting their jump now. So I'm going to start trying to lay some material in there. So that's over here. So I just throw it right in there.
Seems so much quicker.
Yeah, it's hotter gas, and that's literally the whole point of using that versus propane, because it is hotter. And you'll notice as this goes, we're changing gas. We're going kind of in order of what their heating capacity is, and each one is going to progressively get hotter. Again, that was MAP gas, and you can see a lot quicker process, and like everything, time is money. So and just for the personal satisfaction, because it gets annoying working on the same thing for a very long time. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I mean 99% of what I do is with oxyacetylene because of the speed.
All right, so there you go, MAP gas, and we'll move on to the next one now. All right, guys, now we're moving on to another gas. What gas is this, Brian?
This is acetylene, and it uses just free oxygen. You see these vent holes here? It literally pulls oxygen, that's in the air through those, creates a draft. You'll hear it's really noisy, but it's, again, much faster.
Okay, so acetylene and oxygen mixed right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not anything close to a pure oxygen.
All right. So there we have our next brazen point. So you can see it's just a continuation that would. That is quite noisy. Wow, that was really fast.
Yeah, you can see it's a much quicker process. And obviously, if you're doing a lot of work like this, that's what you need. So I would say for air conditioning, refrigeration work, that really is kind of a minimum.
Yeah, that was very quick. As a matter of fact, I don't think the material even needed to really set up when you touched it on there.
No, and that, remember, it's I'm cooling it with water, so for the first second there, you're boiling off whatever moisture's left there, in the pipe from cooling it off. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that one was super quick. So one last gas.
Yep.
Okay.
Next, we're going on to the oxygen acetylene.
All right, Brian. What do we have now?
All right, now we're moving on to the oxyacetylene rig, and.
All right.
It's similar to the turbo torch. It uses acetylene, but it uses concentrated oxygen. And you'll see that it's much hotter. This one you have to be more careful with. If you hold it in one spot and don't move the flame around, you have the potential of burning through the pipe. That's why nowadays it's pretty common. People use the turbo torch a lot. They like it a lot because it's idiot proof. You know?
So this one you do have to be a little more cautious in using because it's so much more powerful.
Yeah. And,
okay.
You know, it obviously, you know, depends on what you have your pressure set and how, you know, hot you're running the flame. I mean, because you can run this thing up. That's quite literally about how I like to run it. I like to run it hot.
So that's almost instant.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a lot quicker. I mean,
So as far as applying the material, is that just something that you just have to practice to get?
yeah, like
to
I
know?
said, I mean, you know, using this or using a turbo torch, you know, the simplest thing to do is literally if you keep heating on this side of it and kind of licking the flame around, you can take the rod and lay it against the pipe. You'll know as soon as it's, you know, hot enough to flow the material, start, you know, melting it away. And, you know, to me, that's, you know, the simplest thing to do. Or you can use the technique I was showing you there where you kind of dab the rod up there, melt a bit off. When you see it slump out, start flowing, you know, you're good to go.
Okay.
And, you know, I just like to, you know, go ahead and heat it all around and work the brazing material up into the joint just so that you know you've got a good overlap and, you know, you're not going to have a leak or, you know, any issues.
Should people be worried about using too much material?
Well, just in the sense that it's expensive. You know, it's 15% silver, and you know, I don't even know what it costs now for, you know, a pound of, you know, the brazing rods, but I know it's not cheap. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. 4 different types of gases and the speeds at which they do the work at.
And again, this one is propane. This one was MAP. This one was a turbo torch. And this one was oxyacetylene. And you see they all work. It's just how much time do you want to commit to, you know, getting each individual weld done. And obviously, you know, if you're working on, you know, like a larger refrigeration system where it's, you know, maybe 2-inch pipe for the suction line, it would be possible to use a turbo torch. But for residential stuff, you can do it. I mean, it can be done. It's just painful. It's slow.
All right. And what's also interesting is the canisters that they come in. Again, starting with the first one, it seemed like that was a relatively small canister. And then the second one got a little larger.
Yeah.
And then so on until you finally ended up with the oxyacetylene.
Yeah, and actually they make an adapter where you can hook the turbo torch up on a small tank like this. So if you're doing rooftop work or something like that, all you would have is this single tank with a single hose for the turbo torch, which some guys use in commercial work because it is, you know, very, very portable. But again, for me personally, this is what I use, and you know, I kind of leave my, you know, pipe cutters and imps inside of here. You know, the emery cloth, and you know, I even have an extra crescent that I leave in there for swapping out bottles. And just, I don't know, one package, it's got everything in it. So for me, the trade-off, it's extra weight, it's a little bit extra burden if you've got to take it on a rooftop. But to me, that's a good trade-off.
All right, guys, like I said before, some of the equipment that we use to do the brazing here kind of all stacked together. The first one that we used was the propane, which is in the red bottle. And then, Brian, you said the MAP gas is in the yellow, right?
Yes.
And then this cylinder here is acetylene.
Yes, sir.
And then the last one is a mixture of acetylene and
Yeah, oxygen.
the oxygen together.
The tank on the right is oxygen, and the red tank on the left is acetylene.
Okay. And again, the big difference is how fast they heat up the metal. You know, propane was pretty slow, and then when you got to the final, which was the oxy-acetylene mix there, it seemed like it did it in no time. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.